Tom.
And we are VIMTV, Velocities in Music. How you doing today, guys? We're really excited tonight because we love the Mountain Goats, and so we're going to review the Mountain Goats' new album, All Eternal's Deck. Now, if you're not familiar with who the Mountain Goats are, there's about 10, 11, 12 albums now. I'm not even sure. I've lost count.
I think John Darnielle's lost count.
Yeah, he probably has. This is All Eternal's Deck is definitely John Darnielle, the frontman of the Mountain Goats. It's definitely, you know, he's a very prolific songwriter, and that's kind of good because it's such a simple style that he's able to just punch out material, and really John Darnielle has quite a talent in my opinion. I know I'm a big Mountain Goats fan, have been for a long time. Well, I just lost my train of thought, but you get the idea. It's such a simple style that his passion and his power, he just squirts these songs out like it's his job, you know, and he's able to make these really catchy songs and really put his passion into it, and it sells it, and it makes it a very endearing listen. Now, on All Eternal's Deck, there's a lot more of a full band feel that you would say.
Yeah.
Now, you like that.
I really like that.
Okay.
I think that the bass and the drums really help thicken this album up. I mean, the drums are never doing anything too complex, but they use, you know, lots of good techniques, like you hear brushes, you hear rim clicks and things, and it definitely adds some needed flavor to the album. Whereas the bass lines are actually moving around quite a bit on this record, and that was really cool. It's nice to hear him embrace that sound, and I don't know if it's for that reason that John Darnielle does this, but I just feel like he ballses up his vocal performance a lot more. He really puts himself, I mean, he's always put himself into it, but he's a little more consistent on this.
Especially after the last few releases.
Exactly. Like, well, and his album that came out in, what, 2009?
Life of the World.
Yeah, that one was really, really low-key.
And airy vocals.
Yes, very much so. This is on the opposite end of the spectrum. He's really putting himself into it a lot. And for that reason, this album comes off to me as being one of his most comfortable.
Right.
Like, he just sounds like, for once, this is the music he just wants to make. Nothing is forced. Everything just kind of spills out, and there you go.
Yeah.
And for that, it makes it a very, very engaging listen. I think one thing that he has always had over other people in the genre, which unfortunately, it's a very watered down genre, and that's one downside. It's almost like you don't want to dock this points for being what it is, but it's almost like so many other people have given this genre a bad name. Just this kind of acoustic, slightly lo-fi. This isn't quite as lo-fi as most of his other stuff, but you know, it's just been done before. But one thing that I think he has always done better is just being able to make the listener relate to it. I mean, you don't feel like there's a barrier between you and John Darnielle when you're listening to this. You feel like it's right up in your face and just wanting you to connect with the music, and I love that about it.
Right. The first thing I noticed about All Eternal's Deck is just the general lack of themes in comparison to previous Mountain Goats albums that have attached to Tallahassee, to Sunset Tree, and even Life of the World to Come. And that's a good thing because he actually still makes these songs work and communicates lots of creative ideas, like when he's talking about vampires and Damn These Vampires, the opening track. And it's this quirkiness that adds this sort of ability for you to relate to the music, which I find to be very quintessential in any sort of album listen. The listener really has to be able to attach at different aspects of the sound. So that's something I definitely appreciated. The thing that really bothered me about this album is that I got to track 10, and actually, Tom, we were just talking, you noticed this too, but we got to track 10 the first time I was listening to it, and I was like, oh, this has to be the closing track. This is such a great closing track. And it's one of my track picks, and then come to find out there's actually 3 more tracks on the album, and I really don't think that those tracks are that strong, to tell you the truth, especially in comparison to the front, like, 5 or 6 tracks that are just really awesome. And that kind of displacement, those extra tracks on the end, make it feel like they're just B-sides tacked on, and if they're B-sides, just release them as B-sides. To me, this album could have ended at track 10 and still been, and would have been a much more cohesive listen. That really bothers me. I hate it when I have to skip tracks or if I have to lop off a part of an album, and I know that part of that comes down to kind of a big personal preference, because maybe some of you guys out there love those songs, but to me, I don't like them. I don't want those songs on there. I think the front 10 songs are much stronger and work better as an album. And that kind of hurts it a little bit for me.
Right at that point is where you think, okay, this is starting to drag a little bit.
But other than that, the moods, I mean, a lot of different moods are presented on this album. Some great production, instrumentals and variety in the instrumentals. it's just a lot of stuff to appreciate. And as you mentioned before, Tom, you know, John Darnielle has beefed up his vocals a little bit more, so it's actually, I think, more engaging of a listen than in the last couple Mountain Goats albums that have come out. I'd say since the Sunset Tree.
I totally agree. One thing that I don't think this could ever pass as a theme that you were talking about, but one thing that I liked about this album is the track titles. They're all 3 words long. It's weird, but for some reason, I don't know, to me, I mean, I'm sure probably no one else even noticed that. I'm just a huge nerd, but for some reason, that created some unity for me. I really like the track titles.
John Darnielle actually does put a lot of thought into his track titles, so you never know. To me, I have a little bit of the beef at the end of the album, like I said. I'm going 70 on this one.
I'm going to go 77.
Cool.
I enjoyed this
one.
And
I think a mid-70 score for us is right about where this thing's at. What do you guys think? Leave us a comment at www.velocitiesandmusic.com or youtube.com/velocitiesandmusic. I'm interested to know what you Mountain Goats fans out there thought about All Eternal's Deck, which is an interesting album title, actually. I was thinking a lot about
3 words.
3 words. Ooh, the conspiracy thickens. I'm Jake.
I'm Tom.
And we are VIMTV, moving music critique forward.